そこ怒るな。ジュースでも飲め。
If you're a One Piece fan, you surely already know that much of what you've seen is completely altered, as is the case with one of the most sensational and emotional moments in the anime, which is when Shanks, the red-haired, saves our protagonist, the still young Luffy, from being eaten alive by a sea monster. However, in doing so, he had his left arm completely devoured by the creature. Now, think about this. When you cut your finger with a piece of paper, it seems like you're doing a live blood transfusion. Imagine losing an entire arm. Well, know that you've been deceived for a good part of your life. That's because in the manga, where this same scene takes place, you can see the blood simply gushing and flowing, as would be natural in such a situation. And this is so true that in some flashback moments throughout the anime where this scene reappears, it's much more consistent with the manga. This scene was changed because it was imagined that right at the beginning of the show, such a bloody scene would shock many children or lead parents to forbid them from continuing to watch, which would jeopardize the show's success. I was astonished when I discovered this, and I had to tell you too. This is just the first of the 10 scenes and episodes from One Piece that were changed or censored that you never imagined. No smoking. If there's one thing Captain Smoker does, it's deal with smoke. After all, that's the power of his devil fruit, right? And to enhance the character, Oda, the anime's creator, had the guy smoke not one, but 2 cigars at the same time. The guy loved smoking so much that even when he was in Tashigi's body, he was puffing smoke into the poor girl's body. The detail is that in many versions around the world, more focused on a younger audience, he only exhales smoke from his mouth and there's no cigar at all. Some television channels thought it would encourage unhealthy behavior for children.
That's because they all should be locked up. They're nothing but a bunch of slimy cutthroats and thieves.
Cookies, give me a break. If there's one thing that suits Zoro, who I have to confess is my favorite character in One Piece, it's his attitude. Seriously, that swordsman is so cool. And one of the things Oda did was to associate the ex-pirate hunter with a typical rice ball called Oni Girl. And one of the things Oda did was to associate the ex-pirate hunter with the typical rice ball called Onigiri. One of Zoro's attacks is Onigiri, separated, which in Japanese means something like ogre cutter, a pun with the name of the rice ball. This is because when he was imprisoned by Axe Hand Morgan, a little girl tried to give him onigiris to eat, but the guards and Helmeppo wouldn't allow it. And in many versions, these onigiris were changed to cookies because someone thought it would be cooler. Give me a break. This completely detracted from the relationship between Luffy's first mate and the rice balls, as well as his powerful attack. This is definitely one scene that shouldn't have been altered, as it hinders the understanding of the work. As I mentioned, I really like Zoro. He's such a powerhouse.
Good? I made them all by myself.
But what about you? Comment below which One Piece character you like the most. Luffy, Nami, Sanji, Robin, or someone else. We want to know. The wine to water miracle. If the Bible says that Jesus turned water into wine, some TV stations decided to go the opposite way. They turned wine into water. Indeed, in One Piece, many adaptations thought it would be terrible to see pirates, who are usually heavy drinkers, drinking? Can you believe it? For this reason, various scenes that would involve wine and rum had their content transformed into water. The intention was to prevent children from following the character's example and consuming alcoholic beverages prematurely. Some were replaced with orange juice and other milder substances.
これはガキじゃない！もう大人だ！
ああ、そこ怒るな。ジュースでも飲め。
ありがとう！
Blood or sweat? Returning to talk about the absence of blood in the series, various moments in the animation had to be modified for the same reason. One of them is one of the most powerful moments in the entire series, and I have to say, it takes away a lot from the charm and especially the fighting determination that Straw Hat has. We're talking about the fight between Luffy and Crocodile, where Luffy, in order to land his blows on the Warlord of the Sea, who transformed into sand, discovers that his weakness is water and uses his own blood to land punches on the villain. After all, there's water in blood. The catch is, since blood was prohibited, what to do then? The solution was to say that he was using his sweat, not his blood, to land punches on the pirate who wanted to take over Alabasta. Water guns! If you've never been able to buy a water gun to play with as a child, you surely wanted to have one, especially on hot days. And it seems that One Piece's censorship in various parts of the world took this so seriously that they replaced the Marine Guards' rifles with water pistols. Not just one, but all scenes where the soldiers carried their guns were replaced with water pistols, which makes me wonder, if they were going to shoot water at Kobe, why was he so desperate? Was he afraid of it being urine instead of water? That would be quite the prank. And speaking of pranks, I'm gonna need your help to prank those people who come to the video, read the comments, and leave. Comment below, #1,000,000, so they won't understand a thing. And also as a sign for you and me to make that money someday. Sound good? Is Ace a skinhead? Well, folks, one of the scenes in One Piece had to be completely changed due to the possibility of a huge misunderstanding that could arise. And Luffy's brother has the symbol of the Whitebeard pirates tattooed on his back, as you know very well. The catch is that in the manga, the design that would be tattooed on Ace's back would be different. It would indeed be Whitebeard's symbol, but instead of a skull and crossbones, the manga features a swastika. The thing is, this symbol originally comes from Asia and means good luck, and that crazy guy over there, whom we won't name, used the symbol to represent the most horrible things imaginable. To avoid this association with ideas that weren't what Oda wanted to convey, the symbol was modified in the anime, and it became what we know today, on Ace's back, protecting the nest. Another thing that was censored in versions is pure and explicit violence against men in One Piece. Now, you might be wondering, what do you mean? The anime is about fighting, and there are men and women too, fighting all the time. Yes, that's true, but we're talking about the worst kind of violence that can be inflicted on any man, a kick right in that area. There are rumors that women feel 10% of the pain during childbirth that a man feels when he receives such a kick, and to prevent kids from playing around kicking each other in that area, several scenes that had moments of intense pain were removed from the show. I won't criticize this one, I have to agree. Speaking of violence, returning to talk about Crocodile, a scene between him and Luffy was also censored in various versions around the world. One of the cruel pirate's weapons is his enormous hook, and during the fight, he simply thrusts the hook into Luffy in a way that, I have to say, is extremely violent. But that's part of One Piece, isn't it? In the censored version, instead of impaling the Straw Hat crew's captain with his hook, he's actually just holding Luffy upside down. This was one of the most creative censors in all of One Piece, you can be sure. No seduction allowed. This censorship is quite amusing, as it doesn't make much sense, much like several others around here, but it's truly a scene that's nothing out of the ordinary. Do you remember Belle-mere, Nami's late adoptive mother? In a scene where the island sheriff, where she and her daughters lived, takes Nami home because she was borrowing books without permission, so to speak. And when he gets there, Belle-mere uses her charm on the officer to keep him from getting too angry. But for some reason, this scene was deemed inappropriate and ended up being completely altered in the show.
To steal. She does this all the time.
Like how you picked my fruit, okay?
And if you've made it this far, you've got the determination of a Straw Hat. So I'll tell you about one more bonus scene that was deleted in One Piece. Whitebeard in pieces. This is also a change between the manga and the anime. In the epic battle of Marineford, fought with the intention of rescuing and saving Ace, Luffy's brother and a member of Whitebeard's crew, from his death, something incredibly shocking happens. When the strongest of the Yonko, the Four Emperors, is fighting against Admiral Akainu of the Navy, and by the way, what an intense fight it is. One of Admiral's attacks grazes Whitebeard's head. In the anime, the attack only hits Whitebeard's mustache, but in the manga, it hits the side of Ace's captain's head directly. And when I say directly, I mean it literally takes a piece of the pirate's head off. Man, seriously, this would be quite a bizarre scene to see in the show, so it's understandable why it was cut. Those were the 10 scenes that turned into 11 in One Piece that were censored. And now it's time for you to have the spirit of adventure of the Straw Hats and click on one of these super cool videos that are popping up on the screen right now. If you click on the first one, you'll activate the Conqueror's Haki, and if you click on the second, you'll activate the Armament Haki. Now all that's left is to choose which of the two Haki you prefer and have even more fun. Thanks!